Yep, the big one. Georgia taking on Michigan in this one. 7.5. Georgia opened up as a favorite there. A total of 43.5. New Year's Eve, 7:30, Miami, Florida. What do you think here, Dave? Who do you give the edge to?
Well, let's talk about the value first, because it is crystal. That doesn't mean you're going to win the game, but public perception being what it is, if you like Georgia and or Alabama, you're going to have to pay through the nose to back them. Now, you might win anyway, because I think you can make a good argument they're the two best teams. But know that going in, that the odds makers have adjusted the line for what the public feels is the story here. And I can't argue with them from that standpoint, because the SEC is king. It's the best conference out there. But I think the number's a little too high, and I don't like intentionally getting the worst of it as far as value is concerned, unless it's something exceptional that points me that way. There's also a little bit, this is interesting, there does appear to be some aggravation on the Michigan side that they're not the number one seed. And I can understand from a logic standpoint what they're saying. It's like, hey, wait a minute. We won our conference. We won our conference championship. We only have the one loss. Georgia didn't win their conference championship, and Alabama lost a game. Why are they ranked ahead of us? I don't think it's that big a deal. I'm not saying I agree with it, but looks like the Michigan troops are using that as additional motivation. What I will say, as far as Michigan's concerned, is that they are playing really good football right now. I don't think they're as good as Georgia, though. Now, the one thing that really troubles me on the Georgia side is the quarterback position. You got the game manager, but he's not very good. And the other kid has the capabilities of lighting up the scoreboard, but he's also more mistake prone. I don't know what Kirby Smart's got to do there. I think he'll go with the game manager myself and rely on the defense. I think Georgia wins. I'm not willing to lay the points, though. I hate to take a pass on the title games, but I suspect that's what I'm going to end up doing, because I just can't lay as many points as I'm being asked to lay. And I don't play college football teasers. So for just opinion's sake, I'll give you Michigan plus the points, but I'm not going to bet it.
What do you think here, Tony Mejia? It's more than a touchdown for Georgia. You agree with this line, or how are you looking at this game?
I mean, look, the line is what it is. They've illustrated it exactly right in terms of this is a line that probably should be no more than 7, and you're paying the extra half point, which is essentially a full possession, because popular sentiment is that Georgia will win this game, and SEC power and all of that. This is what I believe about Michigan. I don't want them, if they're down in this game late, if this is a 4 to 6 point game, because I don't trust Cade McNamara to get them into position. And from that standpoint, I think if you put Georgia in a position of power where they can come after you, knowing what you're going to be able to do, if this isn't a one possession game, then I think Michigan can be more mistake prone. I think Stetson Bennett will ultimately be the quarterback for Georgia instead of JT Daniels, which sets up for me the potential to go in on the under. And there isn't much room for error. It's 45. But these are two stout front sevens that I think both offenses are going to fear in terms of, let's not make a mistake. Let's not put our quarterbacks that we don't really trust in a position where they have to make throws. Let's establish the run, first and second down. Very vanilla. See who makes the first mistake. And if there isn't one, then we'll have a very low first half total. And that puts us in position to potentially get this full game total. Again, not much wiggle room at 45. But I think this is going to be a competitive, low-scoring game, so that's where my lean would be on the under, and I do think Georgia will advance.
I'm thinking Georgia will advance. How are you looking at it? Side, total, Brian? What do you think the best way to look at this is?
Yeah, a lot of good points being made. I do want to point out, I just received a text for those watching live. The Vegas Raiders and the Cleveland Browns game has been postponed till Monday. Yep. So a little extra time for Cleveland to get some of those COVID players back. Don't know if that's good or bad from a league standpoint. Being from Cleveland, I'd much rather see Baker Mayfield a quarterback than some of the other guys that they've talked about. So maybe that'll make a difference. But getting back to this game, I'm pretty torn in this one because I've been pretty convinced all season long that Georgia's the best team in college football. And you're asking them to win the game and continue on. But as was mentioned, the line's a little bit inflated here. From a standpoint of strength of schedule, according to Ralph Michaels' excellent bowl preview over at WagerTalk, he's got Georgia 35th and Michigan 31st. So they played comparable schedules. Yeah, when you take a look at explosive plays of 10 or more yards, Georgia is up 96, a positive 96 on 10 or more explosive plays, 10 yards or more explosive plays. Michigan, only 27. So Georgia has the ability to have that one big play that can make up for that 7-point spread differential here, and that is a concern. One of the things that I always take a look at is turnovers and how teams do when they lose the turnover battle. Georgia's lost a turnover battle 4 times this year. They failed to cover the spread in 3 of those 4. The only game they did was that opening game against Clemson. They were an underdog in that game. They had a turnover disadvantage in that game of 1. And they outgained Clemson by 76 yards, win that game 10-3. Clemson was not very good early in the season, much better as the season went on. So Georgia, if they don't win this turnover battle, I don't want to lay that touchdown in that regard. Michigan has lost a turnover battle twice, 2-0 against the spread in those games. So they're able to win these games even if the turnovers don't go in their advantage. 2 terrific defenses here, points coming to a premium. As Tony mentioned, with a total of 45. I thought I'd be on Georgia coming into this, but as long as the line's over a touchdown here, I'm leaning with Michigan. Do I still think Georgia's the best team in college football? Absolutely, but the lines maker makes you make that adjustment, and you've got to be able to cover. Interesting point by Dave talking about a teaser. You shouldn't play college teasers, but in this situation with a low total game, if you ever were to play a teaser and you like Georgia, that may be the way to go here. But I think Michigan plus the points, as long as it's over 7, may be the right side here.
That's in Bennett versus Cade McNamara. Interesting matchup here, guys. Michigan taking on Georgia. That is the nightcap on New Year's Eve.